Hi everyone, and welcome to Noodle Journey. We're getting back into the realm of instant tonkotsu with Sapporo Ichiban's Tonkotsu Ramen this time. I'm happy with Sapporo Ichiban products in general. I reviewed their miso last episode, and it's tasty and comforting, and their yakisoba is so good that it has dedicated space on my shelves. They're not exactly flashy instant ramen, but they are consistent. They only have a few products on American shelves, and they seem to do them all well without breaking the bank. Before I tried them, I wrongly assumed that they were cheap crap, but I have come to admire them as a brand. And so now we get to one of my favorite ramen flavors, tonkotsu, aka pork bone broth. But unfortunately for Sapporo Ichiban, I have had some seriously amazing tonkotsu already on this channel. So will this stand up to other brands as a more budget-conscious choice? We'll see. So this tonkotsu flavor comes in both packs and bowls, with the trade-off being you get some garnishes in the bowl form, but it costs more. The pillow packs are currently $4.99 at yamibuy.com for a 5-pack, or $1.99 for an individual bowl like this. You can also find them on Amazon, and more than likely in one of your local supermarkets or Asian grocery stores. My H-Mart has a stack of these bowls all the time. So let's see. Sodium. Yowza, 2,660 milligrams, which is 120% of your daily allowance. That is a little surprising, since the other Sapporo Ichiban noodles don't trend that high. Still nothing we can't handle, right? Just don't drink the broth if this bothers you. So peeling back the lid halfway, I can see those nice thin noodles, and we've got 3 packets this time. There's a soup powder, a garnish pack, and a seasoning oil. Now, if I read the ingredients correctly, this oil is a mixture of garlic oil and some neutral vegetable oils, while the powder contains a non-dairy creamer and the rest of your standard artificial tonkotsu seasonings like MSG, sugar, yeast extract, and soy sauce. And then the garnishes are sesame seeds, leeks, and wood ear mushrooms. Curiously, although I can't find out specifically what contains it, there is a warning in the ingredients that this contains fish, so take that under advisement. Now here's where things get a little tricky with the ingredients. The official product page for this on Sanyo Foods says that this bowl contains chicken and beef stock along with corn, carrots, and leeks for the dried flakes, but it doesn't mention the seasoning oil. The official product page for the pack version says it contains chicken broth and pork fat, and of course, no flake packet or oil. And what I have here in my hands that I bought from Yami contains only artificial meat flavoring, no actual chicken or pork in this at all. So I have no explanation as to why there are at least 3 different formulations of the same product out there. So I would just suggest that you check the ingredients yourself before buying, hopefully in person, if you have dietary restrictions or want a particular version of this. Now to cook. First off, do not microwave this. Peel back the lid halfway like I already did. We're going to add the soup powder and the garnishes, and then add boiling water to the fill line. So once the water's in here, let this steep for 3 minutes, and while it's steeping, put the seasoning oil on the lid to warm it up a little. Yeah, it says to do that on the package. This is not a totally uncommon thing with steeped noodles from Japan. So let me go take care of all that. Okay, these have steeped for 3 minutes. You wouldn't think that there would be much heat transference to that oil packet, but that oil is nice and warm. Pretty cool how that works. All right, let me add this in, and then we're going to stir everything up. That is very garlicky. I'm excited for this. One of my best friends in the world has called me a garlic slut since I started doing these videos, and yeah, he's absolutely right. Okay, that looks pretty good. This smells decent. Definitely a whiff of yeast which of course is to be expected because this is an artificial tonkotsu, and lots of garlic smell going on. So let's see how this all tastes. All right. So to start with, you know these noodles meet Sapporo Ichiban's high standards, and I've already talked about how good they are in other videos. So let me just quickly say that these are a 7 out of 10 as always. They're not trying to be restaurant quality, but I find them sturdier and more flavorful than basic Nissin and Maruchan packs. There's no hidden spice in here, but garlic can kind of hit a mild palate a little sharply. So while this is a 0 out of 10 for spice, be careful of that garlic oil if you find garlic to be spicy. And so let's talk about the flavor, and I'm going to do my best to not compare this to the best instant tonkotsu like Marutai or Ichiran. So first off, that sodium level was no joke, and the broth as a whole does come through a little salty, but not crazy. Besides the salt, the garlic oil plus whatever dried garlic was already in the soup powder is the most dominant flavor, and I will not complain about that. It is terrifically garlicky. There's some nice notes of soy, quite a bit of onion, and a little bit of ginger too. Now, as far as dried ingredients are concerned, these wood ear mushrooms are a real standout. They're firm, they taste good, they give a nice little crunch to contrast the noodles, and also I don't see those in a lot of instant ramen, so that's pretty great. Another thing to mention is the consistency of the broth is incredible for this price point. I mean, you can see how milky and thick it is right there. There's no animal fat in this, and yet that's what it looks like, which is impressive. Let's see, are there any complaints? Not really. That yeasty smell that I smelled in the beginning is not super pronounced in the flavor. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of yeast extract to kind of mimic that artificial pork flavor. And also, obviously, the versions of this with chicken or beef or pork extract are going to taste less artificial, but I honestly don't miss it. This is a nice savory bowl of tonkotsu that is fairly easy to find. It doesn't break the bank, and I will be happy to eat this for my lunch. So between the flavor, the noodle quality, and the sodium level, let's call this an 8 out of 10 overall. So yeah, this is pretty nice. In comparing it to other budget tonkotsu noodles I've had, I would say this one is a little more accessible than Nongshim, flavor-wise. It's easier to find than Nissin Damae, at least in my area. The broth is better than Nissin Rao, which I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying. And it's certainly way better than, what was that shitty brand I had a long time ago? Snapdragon? Yeah. Yuck. On the other hand, this can't compete with the likes of the really premium imports like Itsuki, Ichiran, or Marutai, but then again, it's not really a fair comparison. This is a nice budget tonkotsu meant to be in your local supermarket, not a niche Japanese import that costs much more. So if you approach this as such, I think you'll find this to be an enjoyable experience. Now that I know that there are ingredient variations of this out there, I will see what I can find in my area and maybe do a re-review of this down the road. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed learning about this product in this review. I do still have a couple more special Sapporo Ichiban flavors to get to one of these days, but until that day comes, I hope you'll remember to click like on this video, subscribe to the channel, enable your notifications, all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next episode of Noodle Journey.